What's up guys, macadii here, and today guys, the draft reveal for GPC Season 7 for the Bouffalant builds. Now, I haven't made any formal announcement really, it was more of like a snap decision really to decide to give it a go. I hadn't realised the season was starting so soon, and I had a bit of a gap in my time, so I figured, you know, why not give us another go at doing some points drafting and have another practice at that, because as you guys know with my last PPL season, it was not the most successful draft in the world to say the least. So I figured, you know, get a bit more experience and keep going again. Unfortunately, spoiler alert, oh, it's not really spoiler alert, you guys can already see that I still have not got the knack for points-based drafts. I still struggle horribly to do them, and I see some other people's squads and they look like absolute like power, really spooky, and then I look at mine and I'm just like, oh. I don't know how to describe it, but what we'll do is we will run through anyway. We will try and do our best. My aim is to get at least one win this season, but we got a lot of. I'm actually like still quite excited by this team because there's a few things I've really wanted to try. For example, as you can see, Necrozma, I've really wanted to give that a go and see if it is as broken as some people say it is. We've then got Mudsdale as well. I kind of want to give that guy a go because he's always really cheap and he's, you know, pretty bulky ground type. When you look at his stats, it's pretty good. So I'm excited for that. And then Sylveon I've always wanted to try for so long. And it's one of those Pokemon that always get sniped or never really fits my draft plan. So that's going to be quite exciting. And then Alolan Muk is another one, and a wild card that I'm quite excited to try. So what we'll do is we'll just run through my thoughts as going through this. I'm always my worst enemy on these. I don't trust my instincts. I end up sort of asking people for their opinions and stuff, and I get sidetracked with so many different opinions that I then just confuse myself and then just go, right, I need to pick this, and then pick completely the wrong thing. But anyway, we're starting off here with Mega Lopunny. I was 15th out of 16th, so it's a 16-person points draft, which also makes life a lot harder. Because, for example, there aren't 16 good steel types in the draft pool, so that was another thing that I hadn't really sort of factored in, as you can see by my lack of steel. But anyway, somehow Mega Lopunny got down to 15th, and originally I was thinking like, oh, I could go down, you know, Manaphy, but I'd recently used Manaphy in the DSL, and I thought I wanted to try something a little bit different. Well, not different. Another a Mega that I've always loved using. Last season in GPC, it pulled through fantastic well, even with like horrible lack of team supports. Like I could not destroy fat psychic types that plagued the Mega Lopunny, and had that sort of Lando Lop core, which in theory sounded really nice, but as I said, because I couldn't handle bulky psychics or wall break them, then it just made my life absolute hell. So I thought I'll go Mega Lopunny, draft some nice, you know, some nice support for it, and see how that goes from there. So we got Mega Lopunny there. That was pretty expensive. That was 19 points out of our 110. So already we're doing a bit of big spending, and that's half my issue I find with points draft, is I spend at the start, and I get, you know, a few crazy fun things that I really want to try, and then I get to the end and I need to get my bulky water, and I need to get my steel type, and I need to get my fire type, and I'm like, well, I've got 20 points left and I've got to get all of these rolls from there, and it always ends up in tears. But anyway, as I said, I'm actually still really excited by this draft. There's a lot of really fun things I want to try. So we started off with that. Lopunny is definitely my favourite Mega in the format. Wanted to use that again for ever since GPC, and just the pressure it puts on offensive teams, the fact it outspeeds some things, the like raw power of it as well is great. It has the most underrated set in the world, in my opinion, which is the Power Up Punch Last Resort set, which just cleans through teams. Last season, if you guys didn't see it, I managed to 1v1 a Mega Venusaur, a defensive Mega Venusaur, with a Lopunny, because you Power Up Punch, they come in, and then most of the time a +1 Last Resort takes them out, but it did 2-hit KO the Venusaur, but still we were able to power through that Venusaur, which was absolutely crazy. So, alongside that, I debated quite a while. Looking back on it, after I made this pick, I should have gone for something along the lines of Garchomp, because that was still around, and Garchomp would have been a really nice pairing, just because it gave me Rocks and Dragon type, and that was something towards the end I found I really needed, was to try and get Rocks and the Dragon type. But Anyway, decided to go for Sylveon as well, which to be fair, as I said, I always get sniped of it. This is my best opportunity to give it a go. Works really nicely alongside our Lopunny, because it just puts a lot of pressure on my opponent's team with that Hyper Voice, which is great. I've got ways to handle steals, which is, you know, a really nice pairing just in general. And it's just a great wall breaker, great cleric, good calm mind user, and it's just, yeah, very nice in general. And I think I'm going to like it a lot more than I did Vaporeon, because in my head Vaporeon was going to be great, really good fun, whereas at least Sylveon hits quite a bit harder. Fairy Stab is harder to wall. Obviously fire types and steel types are around, but they you know, they're not bulky waters, and every team has got a bulky water that can switch into Vaporeon Scald, so that'll be nice, and I can utilise specs and offensive sets much more readily, and it gives me some wish support, which is really nice to go for. Next, I have got Necrozma. So Necrozma was something I really wanted to try for a while. It was, you know, fair. It was about right for how much I'd be prepared to spend on it. 13 points. I think it was 16 for Sylveon. And, you know, I was like, this is my only opportunity to give this a go for a very long time. I might as well give this guy a go, see how he fits. He gives me a rocker. It gives me a very bulky mon. I can run this defensive. I can run this offensive, I can use it as setup. The great thing about it as well is that it forces my opponent, if they've got a dark type, to bring that dark type, because otherwise my Necrozma is going to have a field day with store power and stuff like that. And looking back at my first two picks, I've got two great ways to be able to handle dark types, and that is going to be absolutely fantastic. I can pressure them offensively. Sylveon can also switch into them as well, so I've got ways to be able to basically force my opponent to bring a dark type, which two of my Pokemon absolutely annihilate. So that's absolutely beautiful. Next, we got a bit of a poison run here, because I debated trying to work out whether I wanted to go for I wanted to go hazard removal, because I had my rocks, wanted to get hazard removal if possible. Debated for a while trying to work out what to get. I knew I was going to get Alolan Muk after this, because Alolan Muk pairs really well with Lopunny, and in the end I decided, you know, Crobat went 701 in the DSL. I have had a lot of experience using it. It's my favourite flying type in the format. I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna build up a little bit of a psychic profile. Not psychic, a poison profile here. So I went for Crobat. Gives me some nice speed, you know, especially alongside Mega Lopunny. It's great, especially when Necrozma and Sylveon aren't exactly the fastest in the world. Gives me a nice defogger. And, yeah, just a really great mon in general. Really enjoy using that guy both defensively and also offensively from there. Next, then, going back to that, it also has a big impact on Mega Lopunny, because one of the best ways to offensively check Mega Lopunny is a Scarf Fighting type. And you look at my next few picks, switch into Scarf Fighting type, switch into Scarf Fighting type, switch into Scarf Fighting types. I've got so many ways to be able to handle Scarf Fighting types. That is... It's absolutely great, and that made me very, very happy. Next up, we got the Alolan Muk. I wanted this guy as a pairing to Mega Lopunny right from the start, just because it gives me a way to trap those nasty Psychic types. I can come in, switch into almost any Psychic type as long as they don't have Willow, and just basically just Pursuit trap them, or I can just throw out a knockoff. Poison Touch is always great, especially alongside Poison Jab, and yeah, just a really fun mod in general. I've really wanted to try. I've been watching replays with it, and it seems to be putting in a lot of work for a lot of people. So, yeah, I thought it could be quite a fun one to go for from there. Next up, I knew I wanted the Grass type, and they had gone pretty quickly, and I was a bit pushed for points, and I was debating whether to go for Ferrothorn or Roserade, because I wanted some way to be able to get some more hazards going. And, obviously, Roserade had the downside that it boosts up my poison, number of poison mons I have, but then on the other hand, like, Muk's the only one weak to ground. These two are weak to Psychic. He's immune to Psychic. So overall, it all just kind of... they've got the same typing, but they don't have any bad synergy, if that makes sense, from a sort of weakness point of view. On top of that as well, Fairy types are one of the best ways to wall Mega Lopunny. And if I've got, you know, having a few fighting answers, Fairy answers is never the worst thing in the world. It gives me a Spiker with some T-Spikes options as well. Great special attack. I can run this guy as a sort of semi-fast wall, or I can go for some sort of wall breaking set. So I thought, you know, why not? That could be quite fun from there. Ferrothorn was a little bit more expensive, and it had some impact later on. Also, while it would give me my steal, it was so slow that it ended up my team just started looking incredibly slow, and I had horrible speed gaps that I knew I just wouldn't be able to fill properly. So that's kind of my reasoning for that. Next up, we decided to go... Oh, I did not mean to delete him. I apologise. Next up, we got Rotom, which was an absolute steal at 3 points, and I knew it would go very quickly, and I really wanted this guy for a number of reasons. It gave me my electric type, gave me a spin blocker, which was great with the stacking, and on top of that as well, it is a ground immunity, which is also really nice because obviously we've got Crobat there, we've got, you know, Muk being pretty weak to ground types. It's just nice to have another solid ground immunity alongside Crobat that isn't weak to Stone Edge or anything like that. So yeah, just in general, a really fun one. Okay, I'm going to have to delete these one at a time. I apologise. Hopefully you guys can remember what I've got. But next up we got Alomomola. So I debated what bulky water I wanted. I considered Jellicent, but then I was like, Rotom plus Jellicent is... it's not that great. Plus on top of that, I've got a good natural bulk. Like, you look at, you know, I've got lots of really good switch-ins to just, you know, various things that pressure Alomomola, like grass types. I've got just in general good natural bulk that I could switch into, take a hit, and then get all that health back from wishes. So Alomomola just seemed to fit the team a lot better from that support. And it is basically, I've just got to treat it as a pivot. You come in, take the hit, wish up as they switch into their counter, and then you switch out again and go into the Numon, and as they take that hit, and then they heal up from there. So yeah, it should be really good fun. I'm interested to give it a go, and it was an absolute steal at 6 points. Really cheap, and it's a really difficult mon to kill and can be really annoying for some teams. Next up, we got Tyrantrum. This is where I kind of wished, going back, I hadn't gone for Sylveon so early. If I'd have gone for something like Garchomp, it would have given me a little bit better speed gaps. And also, it will give me a Dragon-type Rocker, good, you know, fairly solid electric check because you can Yashi it, and it's just generally pretty bulky. But I decided to settle on Tyrantrum. It gave me Stealth Rocks. Love this guy for the fact that it's so hard to switch into. Rock Polish, Dragon Dance, just a really fun dude that, yeah, I'm just really looking forward to giving this guy a go, I must admit. It should be really good fun. Next up, we got Mudsdale. This was a really sad one because I had my eyes on Steelix all the way through, and I really wanted Steelix. And then a few picks before me, Steelix got sniped, and that made me so sad because it gave me a really great electric check, gave me a Stealth Rocker, gave me a Steel type, and I kind of should have picked it early, but then Tyrantrum fitted so well that it was difficult to not justify that. So it was a toss-up, and I lost the toss, basically. But I decided to settle on Mudsdale. I know it's... No one's really used it before much in League, but you look at the stats and I see, you know, Alomomola being able to pass wishes. I've got, you know, some fairly decent school switch-ins and stuff like that, and just, yeah, thought I'd give this guy a go and see what he's like. Stamina could be really annoying, you know, like a Spadef Rest Talk set or something like that. And, yeah, just, as I said, I'm just being a little bit experimental down the line with some of these more value picks from there. At the very end, I'm very much scraping the bottom of the barrel, and we'll finish up with our last two picks. So next up, we got Pyro, which I thought was a pretty good steal at 3 points. Normal and fire coverage is not coverage. A stab is pretty good. Apart from obviously Rock, which is the only real other one. But then I've got Tyrantrum for that. I've got actually not Tyrantrum. Got some Mudsdale for that. And just in general, I can probably take on Rock types pretty well. Pyro, I thought would be really fun. It's my Z user for my team, just because it fits best as my Z user. None of the others are particularly good Z crystal holders, and yeah, just like Z Hyper Beam memory really, and Z Overheat. I'm pretty sure this guy gets Overheat. I know he gets Hyper Beam. Does he get Overheat? Yeah, okay, that's good. So it gives me like a nice speed tier as well, 106. Fills a lot of the gaps, and you know, 109 isn't too bad when you look at it. And Unnerve is actually quite a fun ability because it means that their berries don't actually then work from, you know, to actually block your to block any resists, like if they got Occa Berry or something like that, which would be really fun. And then finally we have got the meme pick. At one point I really wanted Shelmet, and there was a bit of a mix up, and basically I didn't end up getting Shelmet, and I had to settle on Swadloon, which, you know, gives me a sticky web to use, which is nice. Really decent bulk, actually, with an Eviolite. It would be nice if this guy got Recover or Synthesis, but unfortunately he doesn't. It gives me a sticky web user, agility passing, just fairly decent bulk. Just a bit of a, you know, for 1 point I thought, might as well get webs. Bit of a bulk, get a bit of a ground resist as well, which is nice, and yeah, we'll just see what we can do with this guy. So there you go, guys, that is my squad. Not, as I said, not the most impressive team in the world, but you know, I'm looking forward to it. Should be good fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think of the squad, and hopefully we will get at least 1 win this season. That's the aim. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like, and I will see you guys later. macadii out.